Okay, so let's start. So polynomials, algebra is your title. So algebra, it's actually Arabic. So most of it was started in using a different language and then brought in to English. Okay, and it's a long, long time ago is when it started. It's not a new thing; it's an old thing. It's basically the study of unknown values using symbols, which we now use letters. Okay, but we use a whole bunch of different symbols. Mostly though, X and Y, which you're pretty familiar with. That sounds like a lot of work. So, a couple examples. Variables. Okay, so variables are letters. And variables, we can assign a variable a value. So we can have a whole bunch of variables together in a statement and then say x equals 4. Or we can even change it and say x equals 6. So you can do a lot of different experimenting. For example, you can see, well, if the cost is, if we change the cost to $6 from $4, well, how much more money will we make when we sell those hamburgers? Or how much less money will we make? So you can answer questions like that. A lot of businesses are using algebra as they make their decisions. Then we have coefficients. So coefficients, they're the numbers in front of the variables. They tell us how many we have. Okay, so describe the number of variables. For example, 4x, it's really saying that we have 4 x's. We have 4 of them. And we can interpret that as 4 times x. Okay? So instead of x plus x plus x plus x, we just write 4x because there's 4 of them. So another definition is terms. So terms are a multiplication statement. So the multiplication of numbers, letters, or both. Like 4x is 4 times x. So 4x is what we call a term. Now we can also have some different examples, such as x. We can have an xy term. We have a 4xy term. Now the 4xy means we have 4 groups of xy, or 4 times xy. Do you see any pluses or minuses? No, none. So there's no pluses or minuses. Okay, it's just letters side by side. Now we have constants. Constants are numbers by themselves. Their values don't change. So for example, if we have x plus 4, then the constant equals plus 4. So we usually write the constant at the end of the statement. Sometimes we can write it at the beginning, but generally we write it at the end. So next we have polynomials. Okay, so polynomials, this is where we start getting a little weird. They're one or more terms added or subtracted together. So for example, we have 3x plus 2. That whole thing together is a polynomial made up of 2 terms, which I separated with green. 3x is one term, plus 2 is the other. Now the plus 2 is a special name. What is that special name? Constant. Okay, has no letters, just a number. The next polynomial is 4x squared minus 3x minus 5, and that's made up of 3 separate terms. Okay. Notice how the sign stays with the number. Okay, so 3x has a negative sign in front. Okay. And so you can see the -5 is the constant. It has no letters. Polynomials also have names as well. For example, monomial. Mono refers to 1. So mono is a prefix of 1. That means it's one term. 3x squared y cubed. Are there any plus or minus signs inside there? None. Okay. So right here, no plus or minus signs, one term. Okay, so write down the example. Binomial is two terms. And so here we have two terms separated by a plus sign. Here we have two terms separated by a minus sign. So binomial, like a bicycle, bicycles have two wheels. Binomials have two terms. And then a trinomial, like a tricycle, has three terms. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3 terms separated by plus or minus signs. 1, 2, 3 terms. Now we're going to go into degrees and degrees of polynomials. Let's just focus on this one first, okay, degrees of the terms. So just write that down. I'll go slow. Okay. So for each term, you add the exponents on the letters, only on the letters. Okay. So here we have some examples of just some terms. I'm adding the exponents. Okay. Watch out for your hidden one exponent. Okay, so just copy down this section on the left, please. So you have to be able to do that first. Add the exponents. Now for the polynomials, talking about on the right, okay, you find each term and you just choose the highest. So it's very important that you know how to do the degrees of the term. Oops. This is different, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so here's a polynomial. This whole thing is one polynomial statement. And I break it up into separate terms using the blue pen. Okay, so this is how you'd write it, or how you'd find it and see it. Okay, and so what I do is I look at each one separate. So first of all, I take my pen or pencil and put a line there to separate them into the three separate terms. And then the first term, I add the exponents, 2 plus the 1. This term is degree 3. The middle term is degree 3. The last term, 5 plus 2, is degree 7. And so the highest one is 7. I don't go any more adding, don't do anything else. After I got the degree of each one, I just choose the highest number. Okay, so we covered degrees. Now that we know degrees, we can write every polynomial in two orders. We can write it in descending order, or we can write it in ascending order. And you've already seen those words before. Okay, so those are two important math words, ascending and descending. So it's always an order of degree. Okay, so what I did is I took one polynomial. That's in descending order because it's degree 2, degree 1, and a constant is degree 0. Okay. And then I rewrote it in ascending order, degree 0, degree 1, degree 2. Please add this. Okay. Never write the exponent 1. Okay. So never write the exponent 1. And terms should be in typical alphabetical order. Although if they're not, they're still the same term. Someone just didn't write them properly how they should be written. Okay, so you should try and go alphabetical order. Okay, so just these first two.